Dragon Quest XII, The Flames of Fate is no more. It has been scrapped and put aside into a bonfire. And in its place, Dragon Quest XII Beyond Dreams is born. Going back to basics, they went back to the drawing board. Hello, everybody. It's your boy Jmulls, and we have a lot to talk about. Let's set the stage. Way back in the day, 5 years to be exact, they announced Dragon Quest XII, The Flames of Fate. They didn't show much, only this little teaser trailer that you have to find like a secondhand upload of to begin with now. And it showed this dark, rocky background and flames carving into it to form the logo 12. It kind of promised that Dragon Quest was going into a more mature, kind of edgy role, possibly even deviating from the established gameplay formula so many people love and cherish. Kind of following in the footsteps of Final Fantasy in a way. But after that point, largely silence, until just a few hours ago in the year 2026, where they finally once again addressed Dragon Quest XII. And this is what they have to say. But due to a reshuffle of the team and a restart of development, it's going to be a bit longer till it's in your hands. Work on the original version, Dragon Quest XII, The Flames of Fate, hit a lot of hurdles along the way. But as we kept talking with Mr. Hori and pinned down what a mainline Dragon Quest game should look like, we decided to move things around and start over from scratch. But I believe it was the right one to ensure the next Dragon Quest game will be the one that all you fans of the series will really love. As part of this new direction, we've also changed the game's logo and subtitle. This personally doesn't really surprise me much. I actually predicted this is probably what happened to it. Square Enix has recently had a lot of internal shakeups, changes in direction, and just how they want to tackle game design. It really wouldn't surprise me if their big push to try to make their mainline series dark and edgy and trying to move, again, their mainline series away from like turn-based traditional combat, if with the new direction, they just scrapped that entire trajectory and went back to basics. That's seemingly what has happened here, though I don't know if we have confirmation on the turn-based gameplay. That remains to be seen. But we do have a short little trailer for Dragon Quest XII. Let's take a look. Now, I have seen a little bit of this, but let's take a look closely. It looks very pretty in my opinion. Okay, so far so good. I like the use of color. It looks rather Dragon Quest-y to me. I think that's a good thing overall. The frame rate leaves quite a bit to be desired, but I'm willing to chalk that up to just being early development. And there's the pro tag. Personally, I'm not that big of a fan of his design, though I think he's either on par, if not a little bit better to me than the Dragon Quest XI hero. I really didn't like how that guy looked, so. I mean, Dragon Quest XI was still awesome, so let's keep watching, let's keep watching. Okay, nice little jump and roll. And the monsters look very Dragon Quest. Again, I think that's one of their main goals with completely redoing the development of this game. Make it more in line with Dragon Quest and what Flames of Fate was probably going to be. Okay, the lizard guy looks a bit weird. Everything else looks fine to me, though. I like the look of the dragon. He looks pretty cool. Again, frame rate leaves a lot to be desired, but I think overall, okay, I really like that logo. Looks really snazzy. I like that logo a lot. I think overall, when it comes to this trailer, I'm a fan of it. I wasn't that big of a fan of the idea of Dragon Quest moving away from its established roots and identity. We've had far too many series. This isn't just related to only Square Enix, by the way. We've had so many series over the last like 15 years or so just move away from what made people fall in love with them. So it's kind of nice to see a series like Dragon Quest almost go in that direction and then just say, you know what, this might not be worth it. Actually, this probably isn't worth it. Let's go back to the drawing board, admit we messed up, and try to do it right. Do I think the trailer is without its faults? No. I am willing to forgive the frame rate of it, mainly just because this isn't the full release and it seems to be rather early on. They probably haven't optimized it and all that. I hope that improves later down the line. I imagine it will. Maybe this is a little bit nitpicky on my part, but it does kind of feel like the characters and monsters stand out a bit compared to the world itself, as if they don't really belong there. But I like the rest of the designs, like this robot looking cool. I like her. I think she looks pretty cool as well. The designs look very Dragon Quest. I don't think that's a problem. I think that's a good thing. The lizard looks a bit weird, I will admit. I think I saw a theory on Twitter that maybe the pro tag turns into the lizard guy. That could be a cool little plot twist. But I do think overall, the trailer looks fine. It looks good. I like the look of it. I like the armored looking dragon. He looks badass. I think overall, I'm definitely a fan of this. Thankfully, that's not the only information we have about Dragon Quest XII Beyond Dreams. Right after they showed the trailer, they talked about this. It's the story of a young hero who's beset by strange visions in their sleep. That honestly makes me care about the character design here a little bit more, because when you look at his eyes, you can see like the dark bags underneath his eyes. He does look tired. So I do like how that element of the story is incorporated in the character design. It makes me care about how he looks a little bit more. This just feels a little bit meta to me. What lies beyond dreams, surely not a world of darkness, not the one from Konosuba, but a bright and exciting future. Maybe I'm reading a little bit into it. This does kind of sound like, yeah, they were going for Dragon Quest to be way more dark with Flames of Fate, but now they're going back to bright and exciting. Who knows, maybe the dreams the protag has is what Flames of Fate would have been. That would be a funny little way to keep that memory alive, you know? The game has gone in a different direction to the one we originally announced, but I think you're going to love it when it comes out in 2045. All I'll add is that Dragon Quest XII, like every game before it, will come with Akira Toriyama's characters and Koichi Sugiyami's music. Rest in peace to Akira Toriyama once again, though. But it is kind of cool how we're still getting Akira Toriyama characters. The game's coming along really well, so I hope you look forward to the next announcement. And then they announced a Dragon Quest Monsters spin-off game or something called The Withered World. I'm not too familiar with the sub-series, so I hope it's good. But there is one element I want to point out here. I don't think we know exactly when they restarted development. The way they kind of worded it makes it sound as if it was kind of recent, but I do kind of doubt that. I know I made the joke earlier about it coming out in like 2045. I don't think it's going to be like that far out or anything like that. I don't think this is going to be a Dragon Quest. I said Dragon Quest 12 there by instinct. I mean Elder Scrolls 6 situation. Like I said, there's only like two elements to the design that I'm not that big on, and that is the protagonist looks whatever because the hair looks really bad to me. I do think it's largely just a hair issue. And the lizard guy looks, I'll say it, bad again. But I like the design for everything else in the game. I love the robo-looking robot here. I think she looks pretty cool. As I've said, I think 3 times at this point, that dragon looks awesome. They clearly went back to basics when it comes to Dragon Quest, and I think for Square Enix, where we were kind of used to them moving away from their core established stuff, mainly for like Final Fantasy and seemingly what they were going to do with Flames of Fate for Dragon Quest 12. I think despite the fact we're gonna have to wait quite a while for the game to actually come out now, overall, I think this is a good thing. I'm glad they're not just trying to change Dragon Quest to be dark and edgy because they feel the need to do that. The series has a core identity. Don't need to be ashamed of that. Embrace those elements and allow them to shine. Does that necessarily mean Dragon Quest XII is going to be a home run? No, they still have to nail the execution, but I think this puts them in a far better position to do that than trying to turn Dragon Quest into something it simply wasn't. The more I look at this guy, the more I'm actually liking him. I still don't like the hair, don't get me wrong, but with the context that his story is all about being sleep deprived because he's having all these strange dreams, or that we at least assume he's sleep deprived, I love the fact that is shown in his character design. You can see the dark bags around his eyes, just his overall demeanor. When he's actually in motion doing things, I think he looks pretty cool. I wouldn't call my favorite character design of all time or anything like that, but I don't think it's as bad as some people are making it out to be, in my opinion. And I can understand why people would be upset by them going back to the drawing board, simply because it means we have to wait way longer now for Dragon Quest XII, but I do think overall that's a good thing. I think waiting for a good game is far more healthy for the series and for overall enjoyment than getting what will probably have been a game that just didn't feel like Dragon Quest out the door. I'm sorry, but I just am no longer really of the opinion that series should feel the need to completely reinvent themselves. You have a core identity of what people love and cherish, and they have been for years and years, decades. There's no reason to take a working formula and to throw that out the door. And also, let's be fair here and let's be upfront. Dragon Quest has always been a series that has appealed to the Japanese market first and foremost. Not entirely, but first and foremost. Look at how well the Switch and the Switch 2 are doing in Japan. I think as a general rule of thumb, that more mature, dark, and edgy Dragon Quest XII Flames of Fate was probably designed to appeal more to like a PlayStation kind of audience, whereas I think this one appeals more to like a Switch and Switch 2 audience. Obviously, that's not like the only reason they did this, but I do think it's a slice of the pie. I think there's another element to the discussion we're seeing surrounding Dragon Quest XII online right now, and that is a lot of people that have absolutely no investment engagement or even interest in the Dragon Quest series, but because it's online, people feel the need to have some kind of take to add to the pile. And for a lot of people that didn't care what Dragon Quest was up to this point in time, Dragon Quest 12 being more dark and edgy and moving away from the established elements and identity of the series probably tries to appeal more to those people. But now they're going back to basics. Of course, those people would be disappointed, but I think it's far more beneficial to please and target your core audience more so than trying to chase some theoretical modern audience or some mythical amorphous blob of people that you think will suddenly become super fans of the series because you want to copy the feel of like Western RPGs. I don't think that's the play. People can call Dragon Quest 12 Beyond Dreams or whatever they're calling this Square Enix playing it safe. I would argue it's them using common sense. There's no reason to really alienate your core established audience. Sometimes that can work because on a couple of occasions, series are able to completely change their core identity and attract a giant new audience. That's few and far between though. It's not a safe bet. And I think oftentimes decisions made to completely throw everything away and chase that mythical modern audience reeks of desperation and insecurity in your core product. This doesn't to me. Does it look perfect? No. Is it disappointing we're gonna have to wait even longer for Dragon Quest 12? Yes. But do I think ultimately this was the right move that had to have been made? Yes. And if this is a sign of Square Enix's future development changes for like other series as well, I'll just say it right now. I am really looking forward to seeing what Final Fantasy 17 is going to look like. And now here's where you come in. Leave a comment down below with your thoughts on Dragon Quest 12 Beyond Dreams. How are you feeling about this transition from the Flames of Fate to Beyond Dreams? Going back to the drawing board, trying to be more faithful to the roots of the series. I would love to hear your thoughts, hear your opinions, and hear your perspectives. And while you're down there, please leave a like and subscribe. It really helps the channel out and helps support future content, and I greatly appreciate it. And if you want something from Square Enix in the near future, well, they have a home run grand salami on their hands with the adventures of Elliot, the Millennium Tales. Square Enix is basically making a 2D Zelda game in all the right ways. I played the prologue demo, and if the full game is anything like that, we might have my game of the year on our hands. Want to find out more? Check out this video right here. Thank you all for tuning in. Stay safe, have a great day, and I'll see you all next time. Bye-bye, everybody. Until we meet again.